Do you want to become a certified beer judge? Well, if you do, stick around because I'm going to talk about that right now. So, this is Andrew with Running on Beer. I am not a judge yet. The goal was to become a judge by the end of summer, and here it is, September 2020, the year from hell. I haven't passed the entrance exam, and that's the first step. So I'm studying to become a beer judge. I haven't been doing so well. I am working with a group from my homebrew club to pass the tasting exam and to prepare for the tasting exam right now, of course. And you have to pass the entrance exam first. So that's why I started these videos. Big disclaimer, these are not endorsed or checked by the BJCP. So if I'm wrong, feel free to say something in the comments. If you're not a douche about it, I'll listen and reply, maybe fix something in the video, put a text overlay, whatever. But yeah, so this is the intro video, and let's start out with what is the BJCP. So the BJCP is a non-for-profit group that was founded back in 1985 as a joint venture with the American Homebrewers Association and the Home Wine and Beer Trade Association. That association no longer exists. Until 1995, they were quasi-independent until the AHA said, well, we're going to do our own thing, which they never did, but the BJCP split off, became their own independent group, and that's it. That's history. So they do have a mission statement. They encourage the knowledge, understanding, and appreciation of the world's diverse beer, mead, and cider styles. They promote, recognize, and advance beer, mead, and cider tasting, evaluation, and communication skills. And they develop standardized tools, methods, and processes for the structured evaluation, ranking, and feedback of beer, mead, and ciders, which is really cool. That doesn't mean they're the be-all, end-all. If you've ever got a score sheet that had this at the bottom, make sure that's close enough to see. Yeah, this is great beer, missed the style mark. I've had plenty of great beers like this, ones that I've brewed, ones that others have brewed. It does happen. Sometimes you also get one of these, which is like, hey, this is a medal winner. So, why become a certified judge? I mean, who gives a fuck? Well, one is better judging. So you start to understand the judging process and looking at beer from all angles. The aroma, the appearance, the mouthfeel, the flavor, and you start learning how to identify all flavors. And it's one thing to say, well, this beer tastes buttery. That's diacetyl. And I mean, yeah, low-hanging fruit. I could have used something really off the wall. But it's easier to communicate that way. When we all know what diacetyl is, we know how it's produced because we know it's diacetyl, it's produced by the yeast, and then it gives you the method to fix it, even if you're not judging it. And if you are, you get to tell them how to fix it. You learn better communication. So, one of their mission statements is promoting, recognizing, and advance the beer, mead, and cider tasting, evaluation, and communication skills. There's few people in this world that don't benefit from better communication skills. And I'm an engineer, I write technical reports, so yeah, communication is pretty important. You also get to learn about styles. Some of the beer judge or some of the BJCP guidelines include things about the styles. Sometimes you just get some of the ideas from it, where they say, well, this was brewed in Munich starting in 1865, whatever. And you can also start to look into, well, how does that match up with the culinary pairings, and you start getting into, these German beers go well with German food and things like that. So, levels and getting from one to another. In a nutshell, there's 7 levels. It's actually more complex than that, but if you're starting now, 7 levels are all you have to worry about, and you probably don't need to worry about all 7. The nutshell version, the first one is provisional. When you pass the exam, you're provisional. Apprentice is the next level up. That means you pass the tasting exam, but you're maybe not with a score high enough to become recognized. There's also certified, national, master, and grandmaster. With all these, you get to and you upgrade through taking exams, sometimes experience points. You're getting to national, master, and grandmaster, you have to have experience points. And If you want to become Grandmaster, there's more. But I'm not getting into that during this video series. So the first exam, or the 3 exams, are entrance, tasting, and written. And I think most people probably go through just the entrance and tasting exam. Some people will go to the written exam. I imagine if we looked at the numbers, I don't know if BJCP posts these, there's probably a big fall off when you get past certified or national. And that's partly due to design. You don't want a million masters judges around there because there's not going to be a million masters judges. So the entrance exam is the first step. It's a web-based exam, 180 questions in 60 minutes. Now, if you do that math, that's 20 seconds a question. That's fast. Now, you have to get 115 of those correct, and that's either get them correct within the time period or get 115 correct when the time period ends. Now, fortunately, it's a combination of true, false, multiple choice, single answer, and multiple choice, multiple answer. There's 112 of them that are true and false. So those are fortunately pretty quick, but it's not like you can look stuff up. And so like one of the examples they have in some of the BJCP materials is acetaldehyde allowable in low levels in a British brown ale? Which the answer is, I believe, is false. But it's not like you can look that up because you have 20 seconds per question. Nobody's that fast at getting through the style guidelines or the other materials that they recommend for you. So 44 of them are multiple choice with one answer. And then 24 of those are multiple choice with multiple answers. You pass that, you're a provisional judge. That means that you're not technically a certified judge, but at least you're on the first step, or you pass that first step. I'll be honest, this sounds to me like the hardest of the steps, because the next step is the tasting exam. So the tasting exam is you taste and score 6 beers in 90 minutes, so 15 minutes per beer. If you've ever actually judged beer in a competition, usually they expect about 10 minutes of beer, and that's usually the pace people go on. I've never really timed it, but I know I've done one competition, and we were right about 10 minutes per beer. The style guidelines are not allowed, which does make it a little tougher. The scoring's based equally on 5 different things, so basically 20 points out of 100 for each of the scoring accuracy, the actual number, your perception, descriptive ability, feedback, and completeness and communication. And that's completeness and communication is one group. So scoring accuracy, obviously the number. Perception, there's points deducted for things like missed flaws or errors in the aroma or the appearance or the flavor or the mouthfeel. So if they give you a beer that, let's say, has diacetyl added to it or has diacetyl, and you fail to identify that, that deducts points for perception. And there is, in the judging, the exam grading guidelines, some leeway given towards it. Some people may pick up stuff as different things. So it's not like, oh, you didn't pick up this, Asian pear flavor out of this beer. They're not going to get that close. But if you say, oh, this beer has a spicy hop flavor and there's no spicy hop flavor, maybe it's a fruity hop flavor, that is probably a little bit of a cause for concern. I say probably because I've never graded one of these exams. Descriptive ability is just your ability to describe the intensity and characteristics of the aroma, appearance, flavor, and mouthfeel. And one of the more important things that our local, my beer club's home BJCP group has been driving home is always use the amount. So it's not, oh, this beer has a citrus hop flavor. Is it a moderate citrus hop flavor? Is it a high citrus hop flavor? Is it a subtle citrus hop flavor? So getting those intensities is really important. Feedback is one of them, just providing useful and constructive feedback. If you have a beer that's, we'll go back with diacetyl again, the buttery flavor. If you say, oh, you should ferment this cooler, well, no, not right. You should ferment it longer, let the yeast clean up after itself, and make sure that you're pitching enough yeast and keeping the beer while it's fermenting in the right temperature range. But particularly enough yeast, because diacetyl usually is caused by beer that has not finished fermentation, the yeast has not had a chance to clean up after itself. And then completeness and communication, having well organized statements. And that it's hard to throw out an example for that, but you do need to write so that people can understand it. Legible writing's actually in there. So if you write like a doctor, might want to slow down and try and form your letters a little bit better. And from the standpoint of somebody who has entered competitions, it sucks when you get somebody back and it looks like it's, I don't know, Cyrillic or something, or Chinese. It's like, what the fuck are you trying to tell me? You know, people do want their feedback, and people do read this. So, and also checking the boxes for stylistic accuracy, technical merit, and intangibles. And I'm going to guess that it goes along with that also. The boxes, these over here, which is, I think descriptor definitions. So they don't call them all off flavors because not all of them are off flavors all of the time. When you take it, you're at least an apprentice at the end. If you get 60% or better, you're a recognized judge. 70% or better with experience points, you're a certified judge. The next exam is the written proficiency exam. 20 true and false questions, 5 essay questions, and 90 minutes. Now that's only required to get to National Master or Grandmaster. You want to be a certified judge before that, because part of it is you do have to have enough experience points to be able to get to National. You also want to, I don't know if they'll even let you take it without being certified. Experience points, I mentioned those a few times. Volunteering in competitions get you experience points. Judging, stewarding, organizing, staffing. If you help with an exam, like one of the tasting exams, you get experience points for that. There are a certain amount with all the levels that have to come from judging, which is kind of obvious if you ask me. So one of the most important things, and this will be talked about a lot in this video series, the style guidelines. And it's important to say I am using the 2015 styles. I'm recording this in 2020. The 2015 styles are out. This is, of course, an evolutionary document. There's a couple of provisional styles that are on the BJCP's website. They're not actually included in the PDF if you print it out like I did. So you want to make sure you get those. And there's actually 34 styles right now. I'm kind of hoping that the next evolution has a couple more that include the nicer American lagers like 50 West American Pilsner. So the next video on this will likely be on tasting and judging process. I'm going to talk about how to judge beer, and it's going to be really a rehash of things I've read. I'm going to talk about the process of judging beer, the form, the actual score sheet, and also talk a little bit about off flavors, because that's one of the most important things, is being able to identify those. So if you want to see more, click that, subscribe to me right there, and there's probably another video right here that YouTube will put. Cheers.